So, hello everybody. It's Craig again. We're at Masterminds. This is day 3. We just had another keynote. Katie King spoke this morning. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you, Craig. Great to be here.
Katie is an expert in AI, and she spoke today to the group on AI in business. Maybe first, Katie, can you just tell the audience a little bit about you before we get going?
Absolutely. So I'm 58. I've been in tech for 35 years. I've spent all my career helping companies with their go-to-market strategies, with growth, but I've always had to keep innovating. So I started in AI in around about 2016, and I've just finished my 3rd book on how you apply AI to business. So I'm not teaching people coding, I'm teaching people how can AI be used in your marketing, your selling, satisfying customer needs, and so on.
Obviously, born and live in the UK, right?
Correct. Yep. Born and bred in London. Absolutely.
Yep. And we learned today you have 2 children, and so thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
I look forward to reading your 3rd book. What's your timetable for getting it out?
I literally finished it, last few words, a couple of days ago with Kogan Page, and it comes out in a few months' time. So like book 2 didn't even mention Gen AI. It was published in 2022. So I said to the audience this morning in my keynote that you've got to be on a journey of continuous learning. The books aren't out of date because they don't mention the latest tool, because they're about how do you apply it? What's the mindset? What's the strategy? What are the methodologies and so on? That's really, really important. I share case studies of successes and failures in pharmaceutical packaging, in healthcare, in concrete, financial services, every sector.
Everything.
Yeah, all of them.
So, Katie, you talked with the audience about what is the biggest benefit of AI. And I'm curious, I didn't see your vote. What is your vote for the biggest benefit of AI?
My biggest benefit is personal productivity and work-based productivity that then leads to that strategy. So I know I could only allow the audience to vote for one, which would probably be for me productivity too, but it then leads to being more strategic. So if I've freed up hours of my time doing not the writing, because I think I'm a great writer and I don't use the AI to do the writing, but the research and maybe the first draft of certain things, then I can take a step back and think a bit more holistically and think a bit more strategically about that client and their problem or what I'm trying to achieve as well.
I was thinking in there as you were going through that, productivity is what came up for me was the answer. But I would also say I'm just gaining a lot of knowledge and learning from AI, right? It's like when the internet first got started, right? You learned a lot. We still do every day, but AI is teaching me things too. So for me, I would add another one to your list, and that was just general knowledge and
Totally.
and getting smarter.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
AI is helping
Yeah.
make me a smarter person.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be able to do that through voice with a tool like ChatGPT is great too, because you're traveling, you're driving, and you can just do that through your voice. That's amazing.
Right.
And listen
Yeah,
to great podcasts like this.
My car has ChatGPT on it now. I drive a European car and electric car, and they downloaded ChatGPT on it, so
Awesome.
I can just learn while I drive, I guess.
Absolutely.
So one of the fallacies I think about AI is that it's going to cost a lot of people jobs. And you cited some information in the presentation today. Maybe you could share that with the audience that maybe that isn't true.
Absolutely, it isn't true. And I cited the World Economic Forum, and they put out regular future of jobs reports. And the statistic really is that, millions of jobs can be displaced, but actually there's going to be a net growth. I think it was around about 78 million. So really reassuring people that yes, some of the very automatable roles from years back, and even maybe some of the things that people are doing doesn't mean that their job is displaced. It means that they've got to change certain things, the way they do things. So the people that don't move forward and use these tools can get displaced. The marketeers, the brand managers that aren't going to use the right kind of latest tools could easily be those people, but it doesn't mean blanket, if you are going to be displaced. I've had to change in 35 years the tools I used for my trade.
Right.
I am still very much in demand, and I'm 58 years old. So we can all stay up to speed by mixing our human intelligence with that augmented data, the big data insights. That's what I talked about.
You gave some good examples about packaging. I think you cited a pharma example even where one pharma company actually reduced their labeling errors by 70%.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And this was on copy, right? And making sure that the copy was correct.
Absolutely. So people worry that with AI comes cyber issues and all sorts of things, but actually the AI in that example you just gave there is actually helping creating content that is compliant. So helping teams to stay up to speed with the rapidly changing compliance rules. I think that's really important. And then I shared some examples like the Heinz ketchup and AI in space, which is a great video. If you haven't watched it, go away and Google it or find it on YouTube, which is really looking at how is an AI tool like Midjourney and others creating exciting packaging, getting great user engagement, and thinking about the future, but doing so by not just doing the packaging, like creating these incredible new tins for the Pepsi or new labeling for the Heinz ketchup, but actually being game-changing in the way that you're communicating with your consumers around the hot topic of the moment.
I see package design as a key area that AI is going to influence in the near term. And in NOSCO, we help our customers with design, right? That's part of our services, whether it's graphic design or structural design. And, we're already using tools that are going to be a positive impact. It creates new ideas, right? It allows you to think outside the box a little bit. And we're using things like Adobe Firefly to be able to offer new and creative ideas that maybe we wouldn't normally think of.
Yes. Yeah, it's like that digital teammate that I talked about that is helping you do that brainstorming as well as that compliance and so on. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I think it really augments, yesterday Dr. White talked about augmenting intelligence. And I think that's what it's doing in package design.
It is.
Because it still takes a designer to finish it out, make it functional, make it work, but it's giving creative ideas.
It is. And I mentioned about the homogeneity. We don't want to be treating our target consumer, our target client as one big homogeneous mass. The AI enables us to be really personalized and to create maybe the design that is going to be for some specific personas as well. That's feasible. Might not always be cost effective, but it is certainly feasible now. And taking away the finger in the air guesswork that I talked about as well. I give you consent to use my data, you can now give me a much more personalized experience, whether that's through the packaging or whether it's through the way you communicate with me on different social channels and so on.
So at NOSCO, Katie, I established this year an Office of Automation and AI in the business. I put one of our strong young leaders in charge of it. And she's working in the organization with teams of people to find the right business cases. So am I doing it the right way? Is that the right way to go about getting AI going in the company?
That's very progressive, and it's very much what I recommend as well. And we had a question from the audience today where, one talked about the CTO in the company being very resistant, which is not what we want to hear. We want to do exactly what you said. I talk about creating these champions that we pull someone from each department, legal, tech, marketing, all the different branding, and we then together collaborate and find use cases, best practice, and we create the playbook. So I think what you're doing is very progressive, and it's exactly what people should be doing to reassure staff, that their jobs aren't going to disappear, to, really when people are fearful, it's because they lack some education about it.
Right.
And I think that's the nub of it.
Or they feel it's being done in secret, behind the
Absolutely.
scenes, right? And What I'm trying to do is bring it out for everybody to be able to work with and understand.
Yeah.
So
Very democratic.
we're looking at pricing as a business tool for AI. We're looking at supply chain. We're looking at, as I said earlier, graphics. So we're trying to find the best, business cases and then get the right people on them.
Absolutely. And in my scorecard, I talked about exactly that, Craig, the business case. So we've talked about mindset and talent, but doing a business case and then going away and doing some proofs of concept and experimentation. That's smart.
We're just putting in a new ERP at NOSCO this year too. It's a Microsoft Dynamics product for the print industry, and it comes equipped with Copilot as part of the implementation and AI tools to help us even be more efficient with the new ERP system. So I'm really interested to see like how we're going to use Copilot within our company business system.
You're going to look back and say, how did we cope without it? All the teams around the world in all sectors and all different job functions that they do now say, oh my God, we love Copilot. How did we live without it? How did we live without this ChatGPT and so on? So, because it's pulling from, your Teams and Word and PowerPoint and then tapping into some of the NOSCO specific things that you're trying to do with supply chain. Yeah, it'll be game changing.
Yeah. Well, in my lifetime, there's been things that have evolved that we couldn't do without, right? And if you look back, the cell phone's certainly one of them. Even simple things like FedEx, right?
Yeah.
Remember when we couldn't even envision shipping something overnight, and now it's like we couldn't live without it. So I think AI is, as you said, it's going to be in that category, and maybe at the top of that list in the years to come.
I agree. And when we get agentic over the next 12 months, my AI, your AI, communicating, doing some of the reasoning for us as well, that's going to be game changing.
There seems to be a paradox too, a bit, right? Because a lot of people think AI is moving at the speed of sound, right? It's just like going by so fast. But then on the other hand, if you look back, it's really been evolving for at least 10 years now, right?
It has.
And how do you see the future? Is it a speed of sound type of thing, or is it going to just evolve over time? How do you look at this?
So I talked about AI being viable for around about the 5 or 10 year mark for two reasons. You've got the big data and you've got the cheap compute power. But it hasn't evolved. I mean, of course, Gen AI came out of nowhere and there are new versions of those Gen AI tools all the time, but it's iterative. Yeah, their capacity is better. But I agree with you. We haven't seen the robotics. We haven't seen the driverless vehicles evolving and being deployed at scale and affordable in the way the hype said it might. So I think I wouldn't say it's slow. I think it will keep evolving, but, at a manageable pace if we have, as you have, those departments set up to cope with it. And we mustn't keep jumping on that bandwagon thinking we need the newest tool all the time.
Right.
I think that CTO that was referenced this morning is worried maybe because of the obsolescence. And it's a fair thing to worry about, wasting the company's money.
No.
So I think it's linking it, as you said, Craig, to the business case. But I think we can cope with the pace if we've got that mindset and the planning and so on.
You know what? Our CTO was a little nervous from a privacy standpoint.
Okay.
This was his concern. He was like, Craig, we're opening up all kinds of NOSCO information to the world. We're inviting all kinds of other things into our business. And so we had to really sit down and have some very thorough discussions about, okay, how are we going to manage privacy and protect NOSCO's information while we still use AI?
Absolutely.
And once we did that with him, actually, he's now a full-fledged supporter.
Yeah. And
he just had to get over that hump.
He did, but it was a legitimate concern for a while until the OpenAIs and others addressed it and made enterprise-wide tools that protected people's data.
Right.
Yeah, opening up your confidential client customer data into a large language model was very worrying for the banks, Bank of America and others a few years ago, but that's all changed. They've got much more reassurance and protection now. So yeah, absolutely. exciting times. You know, I think, again, irrespective of age, if you've got that right mindset, you've got that agility baked in to the company, these tools you'll think, how did we live without that? But, you know, it's game changing. It's amazing.
Well, thank you for joining us here at Masterminds. We appreciate you and your AI presentation to our group today. And it's been good to get to know you. And
Absolutely.
we look forward to continuing the relationship.
Thank you
here.
for having me. A wonderful event and a really cool city as well. Loved exploring Savannah.
Savannah is a special place.
Very place.
So, and to our audience, thanks for joining another issue of Unpacked. We hope you're learning with us and that this has been helpful to you and your business. Thank you.